Welcome to GCE 107, Introduction to Developmental Psychology. Developmental psychology as a science. Developmental psychology is the scientific study of how and why human beings change over the course of their life. Originally concerned with infants and children, the field has expanded to include adolescence, adult development, aging, and the entire lifespan. Empirical research in this area tends to be dominated by psychologists from Western cultures such as North American and Europe, although during the 1980s, Japanese researchers began making a valid contribution to the field. The three goals of developmental psychology are to describe, explain, and to optimize development. Baltes, Rees, and Lipschitz, 1980. To describe development, it is necessary to focus both on typical patterns of change, normative development, and on individual variations in patterns of change, that is, ideographic development. Normative development is seen as a way of using stages of development, matching ages to ability or skills, and using the milestones approach. Dryden, L. et al. Milestones illustrate what most children are likely to be doing by a specific age. For example, being able to hold your head up, look and communicate between the ages of 0 to 8 months, and also to start walking and talking by the ages of 24 and 36 months. Developmental psychology is the scientific study of how and why human beings change over the course of their life. Originally concerned with infants and children, the field has expanded to include adolescence, adult development, aging, and the entire lifespan. This field examines change across a broad range of topics, including motor skills, cognitive development, executive functions, moral understanding, language acquisition, social change, personality, emotional development, self-concept, and identity formation. 1. Maturation. Maturation is the process of becoming mature. The emergence of individual and behavioral characteristics through growth processes over time. It can also refer to any of the following: fetal development, developmental biology, psychological development. 2. Learning. On the other hand, learning is a relatively permanent change in behavior or potential behavior as a result of experience or practice. For example, when you were a child, your environment and the learning that occurs as a result of your experiences largely influence your development. A stimulating environment and varied experiences allows you to develop your potentials. 3. Critical periods. In developmental psychology and developmental biology, a critical period is a maturational stage in the lifespan of an organism during which the nervous system is especially sensitive to certain environmental stimuli. If, for some reason, the organism does not receive the appropriate stimulus during this critical period to learn a given skill or trait, it may be difficult, ultimately less successful, or even impossible to develop some functions later in life. Functions that are indispensable to an organism's survival, such as vision, are particularly likely to develop during critical periods. Critical period also relates to ability to acquire first language. Research strategies in developmental psychology. Scientific research is objective, systematic, and repeatable. It reduces the likelihood that information will be based on personal beliefs, opinions, and feelings. Scientific research is based on the scientific method an approach that can be used to discover accurate information. It involves the processes of conceptualizing the problem, collecting requisite data, drawing conclusions, and revising research conclusions and formulating a theory therefrom. 1. The first step, conceptualizing a problem, involves identifying the problem. For example, a team of researchers decides that they should study ways to improve the achievement of children from impoverished backgrounds. However, as part of the first step, they also must go beyond a general description of the problem by isolating, analyzing, narrowing, and specifically focusing more on what aspect of it they hope to study. Perhaps the researchers decide to discover if mentoring can improve the academic performance of children from poor economic backgrounds. At this point, even more narrowing and focusing needs take place. What specific strategies do the researchers want the mentors to use? How often will the mentors see the children? How long will the mentoring programs last? What aspect of the children's achievement do the researchers want to assess? As researchers formulate a problem to study, they often draw on theories and development hypotheses. 2. The next step is to collect information, data. In a study, a researcher might decide to see if one method of teaching is better than another. Teachers' ratings and achievement tests give to the learners before the teaching began, and at the end of the month are forms of data collected. 3. Once data have been collected, child development researchers use statistical procedures to understand the meaning of the data. Then they try to draw some conclusion. In the study of mentoring, statistics would help determine whether or not the observations are due to chance. After data have been analyzed, researchers compare their findings with those others have found about the same topic. 4. The final step in the scientific method is revising research conclusions and a number of theories that have been generated to describe and explain children's development. Over time, some theories have been discarded, otherwise revised. In the next chapter subsequent ones, you will read about a number of theories of development. At this point, you have studied a number of ideas about why research on child and adolescent development is important and the scientific research approach. A summary of the discussion is given below. You have seen that theorizing is often of the scientific approach. Next, you will explore some of the major theories of development. Study Section 1 Summary. In this study, you have learned that 1. Developmental psychology as a science. 2. Scientific strategies are usually used to obtain information on child and adolescent development. However, before going into that, we first explained why developmental psychology is regarded as scientific in nature. This is the end of Study Section 1. Thanks for listening.